So my second flight today was a planned mission for just a simple waypoint mission. Um, as I've told you, in addition to my checklists, which I haven't developed for these quads yet, they're still in manufacturing, so to speak. Uh, Along with the checklists, I have and I still did do it mentally today, a checklist called planned activities for this flight. They're all pre-planned out. Not like NASA or anything, but I, I, I actually do write them down and stuff. So this was planned to move from the 1400 milliamp hour battery success for freestyle and testing and stuff, lightweight, to the 4000 milliamp hour lithium ion battery. Another 222 grams of weight added to the platform. We're really going to heat up those circuits now. It's still burn-in time for me. And these are the two batteries. They're quite different. I think this one weighs 225 grams and this one weighs 447. I forget the exact numbers. But there was 222 grams difference in them. This one weighs almost twice as much as this one. They're both 6S, lithium polymer, 150C, lithium ion. Don't do any punch out with this one. This one's not for any kind of high current at all. I hope it never goes over 10 amps. But it goes on the little 5-inch quite well. And that's about where it balances. That's about as big as I think I can go with it. It's loaded for bear, so to speak. I do want to see how long I can fly with that one. Now, I did redo the battery capacity in Arducopter with my notebook at the field today. And I did reset the battery failsafe to 20 volts. Yes, that's quite conservative for this battery, but I wasn't going to invoke the failsafe for this flight. This flight was just to weigh this thing down, put some weight on it. So the motors, the ESCs, everything could be worked just a little harder. I could watch the autonomous flight in the monitor. It's like my second day looking at monitors or goggles. And react to any strangeness that might occur. I didn't think there was going to be any. I'm getting pretty confident of this platform because of the things I'm doing, like this test flight. 2 test flights today with this. How about that? That's barely touching. Yeah, I gotta figure out these GPSs still. I did get in the H743 Mini replacement for this flight controller, and I have done some experimenting, but I haven't posted those videos yet. But anyway, let's look back at the mission. So here it is, what I consider my home field. I consider my home field inside this river. Not really too close to the road up through here. Bring it inside the road. And I think this should be kind of down in here around where the employees are. And there's houses. Oops. There's houses right here, so I want to stay away from them. Don't want to bother them with any noise or anything. But I consider this my home field, one of them. And the high voltage wires come in, let's see,
Here's the towers coming in from the other side of the river, and they cut into this field right here down through there. I really do want to stay on this side of those high voltage towers. So this was to start developing some video, weight the platform down, burn in the electronics, so to speak, check them, let it fly autonomously. The second time I've sort of flown this mission. You remember I did just right in through here and back to home last week or so. And like I say, developing video. I'm trying to do my orientation flights. If you go out and you rent an airplane at a new airport where you just moved across the nation, you're going to go up and do some flights. If you can talk to the tower, you're going to start them out in the 5-mile circle around the airport so you can get references for how to get back to that airport easily. And then move out gently doing orientation flights, we call them. I'm going to do the same thing here, except this time I was going to fly down the river itself. So, and ignoring this place back here for this flight. So I was fairly confident that 4,000 milliamp hour battery was going to fly that platform much longer than the 5 to 8 minutes that the 1,400 milliamp hour does. I expect it to fly it quite a while. We'll see eventually. So this is the takeoff point, and I took off to 150 feet. And this is the second waypoint. Takeoff is considered 1. It's at 200 feet. What the hell is that? Altitude 22,608. We're at about 2260 at the elevation above sea level at the ground is here, around 2200. And it certainly isn't saying, all the rest of these were 200 feet. It says 200 feet on them. That one sure don't. Haven't done these in 5 years. This is my second automated mission in 5 years since I quit flying quads in 2017. So from here to here, I wanted to see it rise 50 feet. And then I was just going to go down the center of the river. So I just put waypoints in places where you see by this, I was just trying to place them where I knew this one wasn't really going to follow the river there, but I didn't want to put them too close together. You can put another one in there. Click that plus. There's another one in there, and then you can just slide right down there if you want to follow that river a little better. This all works real easily. I forget how many waypoints there were total. Total to here, 17. There were 16, and then a return to launch. So for this whole flight, it was just going to follow the river. Notice how much this river, it seems kind of straight right in here until it gets right here. You can see it. And then right here, it's got a 180-degree bend. This river up in this area, it's navigable, fishable. It's a trout stream, actually. And it's 20, 30 feet wide. People canoe it constantly. It's a recreational river too. But going from Rosman to Bavard, if you move a mile as the crow flies, you'll probably have to do 5 miles on this river because of all of its twists and turns down through here. I mean, look at it. It's just back and forth. And when it, whoops, Control Z that. I know I'm getting off topic right now. Here it is going through here. It gets down in here a little further. It gets even worse before it gets to Bavard. Anyway, We'll center that back up. So that's all it was. When it got right here, I was supposed to do a return to launch, come home and land. So I put the platform down, and you'll see I armed it. I set it down, got it all set up, saw that I had enough satellites locked up for me to fly. I armed it, put it in auto mode, and it refused. I saw that on the monitor. That telemetry came back to me immediately, instantaneously, and told me that it didn't go into auto mode. So I pushed the button on the radio back into stabilize mode, and there's a timeout on the motor arming. It shut itself back down, and I waited 10 or 15 seconds and armed it again. You'll see that that's when the video will pick up here, because the first arming makes that, when you disarm, it makes the disarm screen come up in the OSD, of course. But from recent flights, I know how to get that out of the video more quickly than I did, what was it? Today's Saturday, Thursday of this week, and I did that little flight in the backyard. And it went into auto mode that time, so I just raised the throttle above 50%. It took off, ran the flight, landed. No runs, no hits, no errors. Well, some little. We'll discuss them as I show you the video. And it's actually videos. I'll give you the run cam last. I'm not sure I'm going to leave the run cam on this platform when the walk snell works right for me. It's going to be enough quality for me, I think, because the 4K video is hard to work with, and video editor, it just takes so much more time, space, everything. I don't think a lot of people on YouTube view anything above 1080. You can. I don't think many do. It takes a lot more time to upload it to the, if I worked in all 4K for all of this, boy, it'd take me 2 days to upload some of the videos that I'm going to be producing soon. So let's look at what I do have real quick. There's the disarm screen I quickly got rid of. Again, why my OSD data is not on each side of the screen and just spread out in this, I haven't figured out yet. But I will. This is data I developed today, and both the flights are the same. There we are. We're going up 70 feet, 80, 90, 100, 100, and bing, 50, top floor. Rotate towards waypoint 2. And off we go, going between 150 feet, slowly up to 200. 70, 80, yeah, nice, little slow. It should hit 200 about the time it hits the waypoint. How about that? Sweet. Not much I need to say here. You can't, there's no audio in the walk snail, so. Still a little jello in it for some reason. But I haven't gyro stabilized any of it either. But I call that jello when it wavers, not just vibrates, but kind of rolls, wavers. I was also a little, I wouldn't say shocked or anything. Some of the waypoints, it flies around smoothly like the documentation says it does. And other waypoints, it kind of stopped at. That may be with the waypoint loiter radius and the perimeters. See that one? It kind of flies through it. That field straight in front of us, I'll mention it again later, they harvested this week. That's why it's all brown. Last week it was all in grass like this near one to us where the irrigation ditch is rounded. I missed going over the river here, didn't I? And this is the walk snail. I think the run cam is a little less angled over than this one, so we should get better view of the river when I do the walk snail data. So the center of this river in North Carolina should be the boundary for the property that I have permission to fly over. See, yeah, it's kind of making a gentle turn there. Maybe it'll hit one waypoint here where it kind of stops, rocks up and stops. Kind of like that. And the river's to your left, not far, because we got a 180-degree bend coming up, and I don't really want to go much closer to the road than this. So straight in front of us is the field they harvested this week. And I'm going to go right up to that irrigation ditch and then shoot down it. They got another little sod field right there between those trees and the road. Now we're going to go down this irrigation ditch. So this field on the left that we're flying over was all nice green sod last week. They had harvested this center section to the right of the irrigation ditch we were flying. And I think they had harvested those 4 or 3 sections in front of us. And they still got one right there behind the Quonset hut that they haven't harvested. Now that's jello. I don't know why. It sounds good. Vibration's real good. Props are new. 5-inch might not really, with this much weight on it, might not really be a photo platform. Video platform. There's that pivot on the right down towards where we parked this week. So we're coming up to our return to launch point. As soon as we hit this waypoint, that will finish our mission. And what I learned last week is the upper left doesn't go from auto to return to launch, but mission 17 RTL does come up on the screen on the OSD. I did not know that till I did one of these last week. Did not know that till I came back and looked at the captured video after the flight. This week I was actually in the monitor and saw it as it happened. Trying to get these quads put to bed so I can get out and do this with the airplanes. But the airplane's going to be a little faster than this quad. This is only doing like, what, 22 miles an hour? What it's supposed to, 2022. So now we're coming up over the landing pad. It's going to orient to its takeoff orientation and land. That's it. I plan to generate the data flash files that this generates. Thumb through them for problems. And again, these are orientation flights. I'll be doing several of these. I'll be taking more of what's all grass there. I'll try to stay away from those power lines, but make this a little bigger. Fly out this battery. See how long this battery flies. Know how long the little 1400 milliamp hour flies now. 5 to 10 minutes. So I ate out of it today, didn't I? So I'm going to break up the video of the run cam with a look at the data flash files now real quick. There we go to our disarm screen. And we'll review this log real quick on this flight. I'm not going to do much of this deep log viewing unless there are problems in the future. And I'm not really going to do much on this one. We just look at the barometer altitude. 150 feet up to 200 feet. Yikes. There was some changing around, as high as 64 down to 58 meters. 6 meters different. 18 feet. Yay. Interesting. I'll have to look at that on the OSD. Oh man, all the waypoints hitting down here is kind of put all possible error messages kind of in the weeds, didn't it? But basically, oops, control drag. If I can break those apart, I got to find a different way to read the messages out of this. Motor interlocked, enable, disarmed. Well, it wasn't really armed there, was it? Don't think so. Armed here. Error, flight mode 3, so I think that's error going into auto mode. And then it was, don't have any points to show the time for. This is, there's 5 seconds difference here. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these ticks look like they're a second. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it was about 5 seconds before it does say auto armed. And land complete, maybe. Land complete. No. That's not happening, people. And then there's the basic flight where it well, here's another auto armed. Can't explain that. Stuff does pretty strange stuff. I'm going to get my scale back. And I'll show you in a different video how this sometimes just gets your stuff off. So all from here all the way out through the flight, basically. Nothing, just messages down here. If we click this, the messages go away. Those aren't errors. The red ones, well, actually that made some of them go away, like error flight mode 3. So there's not many error messages in this. The rest of them are events. So there's one error in this flight when I tried to put it in auto mode and it wouldn't go. Other than that, all the messages are just straight up messages or events. Or I think this will put up mode changes. Yeah, see, this is what I was doing with the switches during that time. Whoops. This is why I like telemetry so much. Whoops. See, if you come back here and say undo all pan and zoom, it should come back. Modes, okay. And it sometimes does. So we can actually see where it was in stabilized. Oh man, this brings back a memory from the flight today. It was instabilized when I started up. Of the 6 switches across the TX16S, I thought the second one in was from the right. The right one is loiter. That's kind of another panic button. You can just go all the way to that right button of the 6 and touch it. Well, the next one in, I thought at first was auto. It wasn't. It was land. So then I touched the stabilize button again. Then I hit it again, it looks like, to make sure it was in stabilize. This is where I put it in auto the first time it failed. So here's your error right up here. On the leading edge of that, seems to be in the middle of this. I'm still trying to figure out how these line up as far as where this message is along the timeline. I don't think I can have an error going into the auto mode when the auto mode is invoked time-wise after it. Well, that might be on the trailing edge of this. And that's it. There's no other errors in it. Oh, battery. What did we do on the voltage here? Forgot to take away the altitude. Voltage 25-ish. Down a little lower when I started. I didn't fully charge that battery before I left. And turn on point values. Here at the end of the flight, it's down to 22.39 volts. Way away from fail-safe. And this was 12:21 takeoff time, 7-minute flight, close to a 9-minute flight perhaps, close to a 7-minute and 49.661 second flight. And the rest of this, if we look at it, there's going to be nothing really strange about it. We can look at current. While it's flying in auto mode, it pulls a little more current. Wow. Oh, no. While it's got 222 more grams on it, it pulls more current. It's not the difference in auto mode and my loiter mode before. It's the difference of the weight. That's a considerable increase in current to me. From 5-ish to 8-ish, almost that's quite a different, quite an increase in current. Anything else down through here we might look at? Number of sats, 23 here. Now this was at that field after the first flight. So see, it started out at 19 for this flight. So I am going to start connecting these things up to the notebook again, like I always do with the airplanes and stuff. Like I used to do with everything. Let it sit there for a few minutes while I take the stuff out of my car. Don't see here's messages, but I can't see how you get messages displayed here. I see how with anything on a time thing having errors or messages click down here shows them, but this doesn't. So I'm going to have to learn what all these are. I used to know more. All right, don't need to look at vibration. Well, no, I guess with 222 more grams on it, is it worse? A little bit of 12-ish in there instead of below 10 like before, but I don't remember exactly what the numbers were. But I think vibrations are still well underneath the 30 and not that much difference. So I'm going to show you the run cam for kicks and grins. I'll narrate a little bit and that'll be it for this one. Oh man, look at that. That sod's all the same height, all the way from here, all the way to those trees. I love this place. There's where I armed it the first time and then disarmed it, like I showed you in the data flash shows. Rearmed it, put it in auto, raise the throttle above 50%. That's all you have to do. Wish I had OSD data here, but I don't. The Canadian fires, you can see to the mountains now. Canadian fires aren't as bad. I hope they're going out. I haven't checked. That's a shame. We'll orient towards the river. See where they got that darn pivot this week. I don't know what the person who owns the property across the way. I'm going to try to find him and get permission to fly over his property. And I can expand my fields. This 4K video is making my computer ramp up. My computer will ramp up in speed automatically. It's got 256 gigabytes of memory in it. But I think this video software tries to do some different stuff. If I'm going to work with 4K video in the future, I might have to do something about that noise. Another item on the to-do list. And see, this is rocked down much more than the walk snail camera on the front of the platform. This is a whole lot better. Let's fly to the river. See how high those trees are right there? That's the one last week and the dead one on the right, that I would have hit at 100 feet. That I needed to at least go 150 for. And this one on the right here might be the same way. See, there's one of where it rocks up. I wonder if it's because the turn to the new waypoint is so acute. There's another rock up. Ah, yeah, that's pretty acute too, so that might be it. I'll have to play with that on some flights. For some reason that waypoint was way in, not in the middle of the river. Although it was on the Mission Planner flight planning screen. This will be pretty in the fall when the leaves all change colors. A lot of those trees down in there on the left and stuff are pines, so they won't change colors this winter, but I guarantee the ones on those mountains will. Got a lot of hardwoods around here. Straight in front of you across the road is a golf course. So I would define this as my home field. And I don't think the FAA would do much for me if I contain myself to this area. The FAA isn't as unreasonable as this. RFID has made the FAA just seem so unreasonable to so many people throughout the world. It isn't even funny. It's one little hiccup, one little bump in the road. And in general, I just don't see them as the villain that a lot of people make them out to be. Of course, you know, when you've had your private pilot's license, don't have it now, I'm not current. I guess you've got a different attitude about them. When you file a flight plan before you go cross country, and you're pretty sure that when you pick the wheels up off the ground and call in to give them your wheels up time, you're pretty confident if anything goes wrong somewhere along the flight, they're going to get to you pretty quick. Civil air defense, etc. They do pick on drones, though. No knowledge. They haven't stopped yet to gather knowledge on the subject. That's why the rules and fixes and everything are so out of line. Can't make good decisions unless you do it from a standpoint of knowledge. Or I should say, you can make better decisions from a standpoint of knowledge. So this is getting ready to finish up as soon as it lands here. I don't know much more I can say about this. I got to get my OSD spread out, but maybe I'll just be showing you this type of video right here in the future. I don't know. I haven't decided all that yet. I have never been to this point in this hobby yet before. Well, no. When I stopped in 2017, I had put a standalone GoPro on the flame wheel for 5 flights. But other than that, I didn't have any video transmitters on a platform. Well, I did on the rover. Okay, on any flying platform. So I had never seen any OSD data. I had never been in monitors. I had never been in goggles. It's all new experience for me, and I like it. Thank you to the 2 pilots that went out with me today to help me out with this. It was fun flying with them. So I'm going to go ahead and say thank you right here, and we'll end this. Again, look at that nice spot. It's going to be such a great place to land foam airplanes. Thank you.